A Center County lake in danger, coming up next on the Center County Report. Local volunteers are fighting hard to save it. We'll take you there.
And the latest on the controversial gas pipeline project that'll now go right through the Penn State campus. The Center County Report starts now. Good afternoon, I'm Jenna Abate.
And I'm Alex Gilliland. Everything from tuition to the free report has been on the agenda as Penn State's Board of Trustees meets in State College. Yesterday, the board announced a proposed tuition increase of 3.4% for in-state students at University Park for the 2014-15 year. The board also plans to ask for an extra $14 million in state funding. The full board will vote on the proposals today. Trustees are also talking about hiring a consultant to help with free report reforms.
Attorney for former Penn State coach Jerry Sandusky are waiting for a ruling on his new appeal and request for a new trial. Sandusky wasn't at this week's appeal hearing in Wilkes-Barre, but his lawyers argued the defense did not have time to prepare for the trial last year. They also claim a prosecutor at the trial made inappropriate references to Sandusky not testifying, and that the judge did not handle the jury properly. The appeal is now in the hands of 3 Superior Court judges. Sandusky is serving a minimum sentence of 30 years in state prison after he was convicted of 45 counts of child sex abuse.
There are still many who believe the full truth behind the Sandusky scandal still hasn't gone public. March for Truth is a campaign that claims to seek justice for Penn State, Joe Paterno, Graham Spanier, Tim Curley, and Gary Schultz. Supporters say the university and those 4 men were unfairly punished. Organizers plan to protest the Board of Trustees meeting this afternoon at the Penn Stater Hotel.
Some local groups continue their fight to save a popular lake. Collier Lake in Potter Township is labeled as hazardous, and officials are draining it because the dam there needs repairs. This week I went there and talked with volunteers trying to save this recreational landmark. Tucked away from the students of Penn State and only 10 miles from College Avenue, residents of Center County find their refuge here at Collier Lake. But in 2002, officials deemed this lake unsafe.
Well, Collier Lake has been in trouble here recently. They've drained it and they've stopped draining. Thankfully, we have salvaged a little bit of the lake so that we could come out here tonight, but there's issues with the dam that need to be corrected, and there's just funding. Funding all over the state has been a problem.
When the Women's Adventure Club heard funds were going to other projects instead of the lake, they decided to take matters into their own hands and raise money.
I'm like, what can we do? What can we do for Collier Lake? We're like, let's have a boat float. Well, what else can we do? Let's add some workshops. Let's add some vendors. Let's do a hike around it. Let's do some bike rides.
In fact, this week was no different. The women organized a moonlight paddle to raise awareness about the lake's condition. But a moonlit paddle is not the only thing that the community here in Center County is trying to do to keep Collier Lake alive.
What they told us is we really need to do more events. We need to keep up the pressure. We need to keep building steam, so to speak, or get more community support. Not just one and done. What's the next thing? You know, keep going, because we want to show the legislators that this lake is really important to Center County. This is like our golden pond.
The Women's Adventure Club knows it's an uphill battle for Collier Lake, but they're not giving up.
We need $6.8 million, and that's a lot.
A small dent?
We made a small dent. We probably raised about $3,000 just in the boat float and that alone.
The Women's Adventure Club is already planning more lake fundraisers in the weeks to come.
A new route for a controversial natural gas pipeline across the Penn State campus will add more than $9 million to the project's budget. Center County reporter Molly Cochran has an update on construction plans.
After angry complaints from borough residents about the original pipeline route through State College neighborhoods, the university approved an alternative and more expensive route this past summer. Borough Manager Tom Fontaine is happy with this decision.
Penn State has incurred and will incur considerable expense in relocating the pipeline, and I think on behalf of the borough and others in the community, there's a tremendous appreciation for the cooperation in finding an alternative route that would not disrupt the neighborhood.
The new route will add an extra $9.6 million to the original cost, roughly $42 million, and construction will be divided into 9 segments. The Columbia Gas Pipeline will continue to make progress with the Penn State University and will no longer be under evaluation with the State College Borough. The physical plant at Penn State has been working closely with Columbia Gas to start the pipeline project. The pipeline that will replace the coal-burning steam plant has to be done by December 2014 to meet the qualifications of the new Clean Air Act that goes into effect in 2016. Paul Ruskin, spokesperson for the physical plant, said work will begin as early as next month.
It is ready to move forward. Next month, October, November, we begin work. The work will be on the perimeter of campus, so it won't bother people for a while. Construction will begin near Porter Road, which is below Beaver Stadium.
Ruskin assures football fans that construction on Porter Road will not hinder traffic on game day. In State College, I'm Molly Cochran for the Center County Report.
It's been 4 days since the mass shooting at Navy Yard in Washington, D.C., and the base is now open. Because the shooter was a former member of the Navy Reserves, U.S. officials want to improve background checks for military personnel. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel has ordered 2 sweeping reviews of military security and employee screening programs. Leaders are also stressing the importance of cracking down on gun violence.
We must honor the memory of those lost, not just by moments of silence, but by using our time to pass legislation to reduce gun violence.
12 people were shot and killed at the Navy Yard on Monday morning.
The economy is slowly getting better, but many local businesses in Center County are still recovering from the economic collapse in 2008. Reporter John Blauvelt has more.
This week marks the 5-year anniversary of the Lehman Brothers bankruptcy and the start of the 2008 economic collapse. President Obama feels confident that the controversial decisions made by his administration following the collapse have led to an economic turnaround.
We've now had 42 straight months of growth, 7.5 million new jobs created.
But some economists, including one at Penn State, still question the health and progress of the U.S. economy.
The bad news is that part of the reason the unemployment rate is falling is that people are actually leaving the labor force. If you as a worker decide to leave the labor force by saying, I'm not even going to look for a job anymore, you are no longer counted as unemployed, even though you're not working.
Around the country, unemployment numbers are going down. It seems as though the economy is taking a turn for the better. Here in State College, Pennsylvania, those numbers remain consistent. Yet at the same time, local business owners say that they are still feeling the effects of the 2008 economic collapse.
I would say it's not completely over yet, but it's a lot better than it was in 2009, 10, and 11.
Since then, we've decided that whatever it was isn't going to be the same, and so we've done a lot more things on top of the line. We do lunch now, we do the outside patio.
Local businesses continue to develop methods in compensating for the state of the economy. For the Center County Report, I'm John Blauvelt.
The latest and most available figures show Center County's unemployment rate at 6.5%. Hundreds of people looking for jobs had a chance to meet face-to-face with employers this week at Penn State's Fall Career Days event.
And as Christian Heilman found out, there's more to getting the job offer than just nailing that interview.
Bob Martin's job is to help you find a job.
I am in charge of assisting our students in getting multiple internship experiences.
So when a new survey described a growing trend in business recruitment strategies, he got a little nervous.
Recruiters are looking for any reason not to hire someone. They're the kind of things that keep me up at night.
A recent survey shows that nearly 40% of employers have reconsidered a candidate based on their social media profiles. So that means that they could want to offer you a job, but because of your Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, they take that offer off the table.
And that's the problem with social media. You know, if they see something out there, you'll never know it.
The study says illegal drug use, sexual posts, and profanity on social media are the 3 major turnoffs for recruiters. Brian Walker, an employee at EY in New York, thinks people looking for jobs should play it safe online.
You would always err on the side of caution. If you think something might be borderline, don't post it.
And it seems like everyone has their own rule of thumb when it comes to posting on social media.
My theory is if you're not ashamed to have your grandmother see it, you're okay.
If I were to send this in an email to my boss, would this be okay?
Is this something I would share with my grandmother, or is this something I'd put on a billboard at rush hour?
Whether or not your social media ever ends up in front of your grandmother, your boss, or on a billboard, it's as good a time as any to make sure your job offer isn't at risk. For the Center County Report, I'm Christian Heilman.
Social media can also affect you positively. Recruiters look favorably on posts about volunteering and donating to charity.
Coming up on the Center County Report, a look ahead to tomorrow's Nittany Lion football game.
And how does that weather look as the first day of fall arrives? We'll have the full forecast with Travis. Plus, the story of a young woman with Penn State ties and how she's inspiring people all over the world, even after her death. It's always heartbreaking when the life of a loved one is taken away too soon, but a young woman with Penn State ties who passed away earlier this month is now spreading happiness around the world. Loving, caring, and kind. These are the three words that have always been associated with Alyssa Josephine O'Neill. Just a few weeks ago, Alyssa was a freshman at Penn State Barron, where she suddenly died in the shower after she had a seizure. Doctors had diagnosed Alyssa with epilepsy, but she never let it define her.
So we were all really shocked and totally not understood or didn't understand why she passed away or how could that happen to such a great person. But so the shock kind of evolved into something good.
Now a worldwide movement is underway in Alyssa's honor, and it all started at a local Starbucks in her hometown of Erie.
Okay, so the day before she passed away, she was really excited about the pumpkin spice latte coming out of Starbucks. That was one of her favorite places to go. Unfortunately, she never got the chance to go get her own, so her mom said, you know, I want to do this for other people so they can enjoy what Alyssa never got to have.
It's called Paying It Forward, and you may have seen it around town. It's a simple concept. Do something nice, a random act of kindness for someone you don't know, like buying them a pumpkin spice latte.
She was always very caring. She would want this. She would want people to pay it forward and do something nice for everyone else because it is all about giving.
The Twitter hashtag AJO has exploded on social media news feeds with pictures and stories of random acts of kindness. Places like Scotland, Beijing, and even State College are paying it forward. But it's not just in remembrance of the kind and caring young lady that Alyssa was.
Not many people know about epilepsy and how serious the condition is. People know of seizures, but it's not something you hear about every day. And Alyssa was a truly amazing girl, and she didn't deserve to have her life taken away so fast and so young. But I think the message I would like to get out to everybody is to go out and do random acts of kindness, not only for Alyssa, but for yourself. It makes you feel so much better. It makes you feel like such a great person, just like Alyssa was, and she will never be forgotten because of how big this has gotten.
The movement for Alyssa and epilepsy awareness has even reached celebrities like the country music group Zac Brown Band. They're scheduled to play in Erie, where they'll dedicate performance and a song to Alyssa.
Quite a change in the weather this weekend, coming in the form of showers on Saturday, but I think we'll manage to squeeze in one more dry, warm day for Friday afternoon here in State College. Temperatures in the upper 70s, but a front will slice through the region on Saturday, bringing widespread showers, a good ½ inch to 1 inch in most locations across PA. But starting next week, we'll start to dry out and it'll be a bit cool to start next work week. Currently, we're sitting at around 60 degrees with mostly sunny skies. Earlier this morning, we saw impressive fog outside, knocking our visibility down to around 1/8 of a mile. But once that sun came out, we were able to clear on out, and we will continue to see our temperatures rise into the upper 70s, reaching a high of around 78 degrees this afternoon here in State College. A south-southwest wind around 5 miles per hour will pump in much more moisture and warm air ahead of a front. Seeing this now on national radar, the front is draped across the upper Great Lakes, extending downwards into the south central plains. Quite a bit of activity in the Arklatex region. That's actually remnants of Hurricane Manuel that made landfall yesterday morning, and this system got ripped apart as it crossed the mountains, but tropical moisture surging well ahead of the front, and we'll actually tap into some of that moisture come Saturday. Unfortunately, the timing could not be worse for the game against Kent State. Saturday afternoon, we'll start out with scattered showers in the morning hours, but we'll pick up on intensity by about an hour before kickoff, and continuing throughout the game, we'll see heavy downpours, and that will keep our temperatures down to around 67 degrees for Saturday's game. But we'll clear on out by Sunday, but staying rather dull. Only a high of around 63 degrees on Sunday, and a northwest briskly flow on Sunday will keep things cool. But going into next week, we see a return of the sun and we'll actually see moderating temperatures back into the mid to upper 70s.
Now, Travis, I know students can't bring umbrellas into Beaver Stadium, but they might want to invest in a raincoat or two come kickoff tomorrow.
Definitely bring a poncho around because it'll be very wet on Saturday.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks.
With only a month and a half left in this year's hurricane season, most experts say it's been a slow one. Only 2 hurricanes have been named so far, Ingrid and Umberto, but AccuWeather meteorologists point out there could be more development. The season started with 4 storms by the end of July, but the intensity of storms and their impact on major landmasses has been minimal.
Sometimes the season will go all the way into November and all the way sometimes even into early December. So point is, people should not let their guard down.
Hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, and with warm sea temperatures, tropical development is still likely.
The odds of there being additional hurricanes is pretty high just yet. Whether the United States will be hit by a hurricane, that's a big question mark just yet.
And the mosquito season isn't done yet either. Center County reporter Caroline Goggin has an update on the county's testing program for West Nile virus.
Leaves cover the ground we walk on. Colors are changing all around. Both of these can only mean one thing. Fall is coming soon, leaving behind the summer, the heat, and all of those annoying mosquitoes. Although fall officially starts Sunday, Center County has not seen the last of these pesky insects and their harmful effects. As of this Wednesday, 4 birds and 12 mosquitoes have tested positive for the West Nile virus in Center County. Results came from various screenings across the county. This trap in Milesburg is overseen by Center County West Nile virus program coordinator Bert Lavin.
There's a 6-volt battery running a fan here which draws up through a tube underneath the trap into this Tupperware looking container that is actually a net, and the suction pulls the mosquitoes up into the net. As long as the fan's running, they're still trapped in there.
8 traps like these can be found in State College, in locations such as Orchard Park and Holmes Foster Park. The nature of these types of locations can breed a high number of mosquitoes, thus spreading the virus. Lavin spends his spring, summer, and early fall days traveling around the county to prevent virus transmission. Lavin believes that homeowners can protect themselves by making sure rain gutters are clear and swimming pools are not filled with dead leaves. He also urges people to remain cautious and aware. Reporting in Bellefonte, I'm Caroline Goggin for the Center County Report.
Colder weather and frost will kill the mosquitoes in our area, but experts say until that happens, we have to keep a close eye on the situation. The Nittany Lions hope to rebound tomorrow against Kent State at Beaver Stadium.
Sports reporter Pat Wu is there live. Pat?
Coming up next on sports, right here in Beaver Stadium, football takes the field again, and we'll preview other Penn State sports. I'm Pat Wu, live in Nittanyville, outside Gate A at Beaver Stadium. Even though the Nittany Lions football team suffered its first loss last week, 415 campers are still here ready for the next game. Christian Hackenberg has garnered his 2nd Big Ten Freshman of the Week award, and he's a big reason why the Nittany Lions are ready to bounce back against Kent State tomorrow.
I mean, losing's brutal. You do not want to lose. Losing, you know, it's just not a good feeling.
Just gotta get our thoughts together, come back on Monday, and get back on the grind again. Come out and prepare for Kent State.
Penn State dropped to 2-1 last week, but because of the play of quarterback Christian Hackenberg, there's still optimism for the weeks ahead. Head coach Bill O'Brien noted a trait that Hackenberg possesses that helps rally the team.
Christian is a calm guy, and you know that's good, and I think the team feeds off of that, and the guys have a lot of confidence in him. You know, anytime you're completing balls and you're running the offense the way that he is right now, which is pretty decent. You know, guys around you begin to have confidence, and that helps your whole role on the team too. So, you know, he'll continue to improve with that.
Going 21 for 28, Hackenberg completed 75% of his passes against UCF for 262 yards and 1 touchdown. Heading into week 4 of the college football season, Hackenberg leads the nation with 6 completions of 40 yards or more, 5 of them going to receiver Allen Robinson. After the loss, Hackenberg is confident that he will continue to improve moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's experience. So, you know, just every game, just trying to get better, correct the mistakes I made this week, and don't make those mistakes next week, and just keep building on that.
The next game features MAC opponent Kent State, and head coach Paul Haynes was part of the Ohio State staff during the 2005 visit to Penn State, described as the loudest that Beaver Stadium has ever been.
That's how I gauge every away game, based off of the 2005 Penn State, the very first whiteout. I mean, it was electric, and it was crazy.
Penn State is hoping for another great atmosphere here in Beaver Stadium tomorrow, where the game will kick off at 3:30 p.m. The game will also be a blowout as Penn State continues to raise awareness against child abuse. Heading over to high school football, the State College Little Lions finished their non-conference slate with a 1-2 record as Mid-Penn Conference play looms. State College has won the Mid-Penn 5 years running, and the Little Lions are primed for a 6th consecutive crown. Losses to Liberty and Martinsburg put State College at 1-2 heading into Week 4, but both losses were close, losing those matchups by a combined 10 points. On top of the losses, the injuries have started to rack up as well.
We're banged up a little bit, and we're at a point that we need to have some guys step up. There's some positions that we're very thin at, and we're trying to get some of our younger players to step up and win a position.
The younger players on State High's roster could be an important factor in tomorrow's contest against a familiar foe, Mid-Penn rival Harrisburg. Last year's battle between the two wasn't even close, a 33-12 win for the Cougars. Harrisburg's squad looks a little different this season, but State College is no stranger to their identity.
Strong, fast, a lot of athletes. They run to the ball. They come off the football real well up front. A lot of depth, a lot of speed, and a lot of desire to hit you. So it's a challenge.
Tomorrow's matchup at Harrisburg High School will kick off at 2 p.m. Elsewhere around Penn State sports, the field hockey team got off to a slow start this weekend, but is back on track and headed in the right direction. After losing 3 of their first 4 games, the ladies knocked off Lock Haven on the road and upset third-ranked defending national champion Princeton to cap off the week. The win on Sunday ended Princeton's 17-match win streak. Tonight, Penn State takes on 16th-ranked Delaware, a team poised to put up a big fight.
They're going to be able to come at us from different lines, from the forward line and the midfield line, so we need to be prepared.
Penn State takes on the Blue Hens tonight at 5 p.m. Also happening tonight, Penn State's women's soccer is home at Jeffrey Field against Northwestern, and #1 ranked women's volleyball is hosting Albany in Rec Hall. Both matches will begin at 7 p.m. For the rest of the weekend, tomorrow's women's volleyball will host a doubleheader starting with Eastern Kentucky at 10 a.m. and finishing with Yale at 8 p.m. Sunday, field hockey takes to the turf again on the road at Lafayette, and men's soccer hosts Duquesne in Jeffrey Field at 1 p.m. That's it for sports. Back to Alex and Jenna at the desk.
The Bryce Jordan Center hosts lots of performances throughout the year.
But it's not often that students get free tickets to those events. Coming up, find out which band is giving students' wallets a break. Early this morning, Penn State students lined up for free tickets to the One Republic concert courtesy of UPAC. The band is set to hit the Bryce Jordan Center on Thursday, October 3rd as part of the Truth Live Tour. Free tickets will also be available to the public at the end of next week.
And that's all for today's Center County Report. For more news, go to our website at centercountyreport.com.
You can also follow us for breaking news on Twitter at Center County REP. And check us out on Facebook as well. Have a great weekend.